English step by step, present perfect simple, step 1. Remember, if you'd like to see more videos like this, please click like. If you'd like to see other videos like this one, click subscribe. If you'd like to make a request for a lesson, write a request in the comments below. So let's look at present perfect tense. So when do we use present perfect simple? Well, we use present perfect simple when we talk about the past and the present together. You can watch my other videos on present tenses and past tenses, but here in present perfect we're talking about the past and the present together. We could also say we can use present perfect to talk about an action in the past which has an effect on the present. Or we can also say an action in the past which has a result on the present or in the present. So let's look at some examples to make this clear. Example number 1. I've lost my mobile phone. Now, in this situation, I lost it in the past and I can't find it in the present. So we put these two ideas together and say, I've lost my mobile phone. Example number 2, I've forgotten the number. Now, I forgot it in the past and I can't remember it in the present, so I've forgotten the number. Number 3, my parents have gone to Paris. They went to Paris in the past and they are still there now. So we use the present perfect simple. My parents have gone to Paris. Now in this example, we'll look at more examples later, but you can see in this example, they went is the past tense of to go. But when we use the present perfect, we say my parents have gone to Paris because they are still in Paris and they haven't returned. Number 4, here's a negative example. I haven't read the book. Now that means I didn't read the book in the past and I'm not reading it now. So, I haven't read the book. Number 5 is an example of a question. Have you heard the news? Now, did you hear the news in the past? And do you know about the news now? So, we're connecting the past and the present with this question. Have you heard the news? Number 6, he's written a novel. Now, he wrote the novel in the past and you can see the novel in the present. So, he's written a novel. The next one, she's broken her leg. Now, she broke her leg in the past and it's still broken in the present because in the present we can see the broken leg. So we use the present perfect, she's broken her leg. So for all of these examples, we can see we've made a sentence in which there is a connection between the past and the present, an effect in the present or a result in the present. You can often hear the present perfect tense in the following. News reports which present new information relating to the past and the present. Any report or announcement which deals with a recent event. Or any description of an experience in the past which has a result in the present. So let's look at some examples. Number 1, 3 people have died in a traffic accident. The Prime Minister has made an announcement. There has been a major earthquake in the area. The plane has landed safely. Now, in the first 4 examples, you can see there is no reference, there is no specific time given for the event or for the action. Now, if we want to give a specific time, then we have to change it into the past simple. For example, number 1, 3 people have died in a traffic accident. They died yesterday, and yesterday would be a specific time for the past simple. Similarly, number 2, The Prime Minister has made an announcement. He made the announcement at 9 o'clock. Number 3. There has been a major earthquake in the area. There was an earthquake on Monday. So if you change it to a sentence with a specific time, then you need to use the past simple. The plane has landed safely. It landed at 9 o'clock, for example. The next example is a question. Have the firefighters succeeded in putting out the fire? And then we can have another example with a negative verb. The team hasn't scored a goal. And again, if you put a specific time, then you would say something like, they didn't score a goal last month. Now, one important point here is that when we use the present perfect in a report, or when you hear the present perfect in the news, for example, it's often with the passive voice. So in English we have, in any language, we have active voice and passive voice. So let's look at examples here to explain this. 2 men have been arrested. Now this is the passive voice because you have the word been. And that means you're using the auxiliary verb to be to make a passive verb in the passive voice. Now, the second example is not passive because we don't have the verb, the auxiliary verb to be. The police have arrested 2 men. 2 men have been arrested. Example 2 is the same. 5 people have been injured. The accident has injured 5 people. Number 3 is similar. A vaccine still hasn't been found. Scientists still haven't found a vaccine. So, the passive voice is typical when you hear a report about something that has been done in the past. So let's look at some words which are often used with the present perfect, with the present perfect tense. Now these words are just and already and yet. Present perfect is often used with just. Now this means that the action happened not long ago in the past. Not long ago. Examples. The Prime Minister has just made an announcement. Very recently. Number 2. Has the team just scored a goal? Not long ago. A vaccine has just been developed. And that would be very, very recently. Now the last example is passive, and again, as I said before, you can see the auxiliary verb been in the sentence to make it passive. Now, present perfect is often used with already. This means that the action happened sooner than people expected it to happen. So, let's look at some examples to make this clear. The film has already started. That means we didn't expect it to start so early, but the film has already started. The next one. Have you already finished the job? Example number 3. A vaccine has already been discovered. So that means sooner than we expected. Now, present perfect is often used with yet. Now, this usually goes at the end of the sentence or at the end of the clause in a sentence. So, present perfect is often used with yet in negative sentences and also questions. This means that the action probably will happen, but up until now, it hasn't happened. So let's look at some examples to clarify this. The film hasn't started yet. Now that means we're expecting it to happen because it's probable, but it hasn't started yet. Now, it's important to understand how and when to use gone and been in present perfect verbs. Let's look at the following so I can explain this more clearly. David has gone to Madrid. Now what does that mean? That means he is in Madrid, he is there now. Now David has been to Madrid What does that mean? That means he went to Madrid and he returned, and he's at home at the moment. So he's gone to Madrid, he's there now. He's been to Madrid, he's not there now. Susan has gone to the doctor's. That means she is there now. She's not at home, she's there. She's gone to the doctor's. Susan has been to the doctor's. Well, that means she went to the doctor's, but she returned, and she's at home now. And here's an example with a question. Where have you gone? Now, this is maybe if you're speaking to someone on a mobile and you know that the person is not here, you can say, where have you gone? Another example, where have you been? Now that means the person has returned and you're speaking to the person. So you can ask this question, where have you been? You're here now, but where did you go before? The next example is negative. He hasn't been to the castle yet. So that means he hasn't visited the castle. He hasn't gone to the castle. He's gone to the palace. That means he isn't here. He's gone somewhere. He hasn't gone to the palace. He hasn't gone to the castle. He's gone to the palace. So the meaning is different with been and gone. So this brings us to the end of step 1, in which we've looked at the meaning and the use of the present perfect simple. In the next step, step 2 video, we'll look at the form of the present perfect simple.